Welcome to Power Players by Origis. Critical thinking to deliver the promise of clean energy.
All right, today on Power Players, we've got a pretty special episode for me. I've got one of the godfathers of solar industry and a good friend of mine, Dean Solon, former CEO and founder of Shoals. You invented all of that stuff over all those years. You delivered all that architecture to the industry. Shoals went public. You've now moved on to a new challenge, CEO and founder at Create Energy. And in case anybody can't remember, look at all the signs behind you and on your shirt. So, Dean, welcome to Power Players. It's good to see you, my friend. What have you been up to?
All right, Mike, long time no see. Thanks for having me. What have we been doing? I don't know. So, as you said, had to leave Shoals because it became an IPO, and everybody knows this little mouth is not really made for publicly traded landscapes. And quite honestly, I needed my little baby that I raised from birth, raised it. I basically took it to an engagement party with Oak Tree, walked down and got married to the public sector, and it was time for Dad to, leave the baby, get out of the married couple's hair, and watch it succeed. And it's doing okay. But after about a year of hanging out, I was bored. I was literally didn't know what to do with myself. So called Ron Corio at ATI, Ray Trackers, said, "Hey, Ray, hey, Mr. Corio, Ronnie baby, let's go put some money in with this guy, Peter Jonah, and start a private equity." It took me a while to convince him that, we should go do it. But Ron and I put in money, anchor money, into a private equity company called Nails Partners, and 2 Marches ago. And it's been wildly successful. I'm going to throw a quick pitch so everybody kind of sees the evil empire we're forming up. We bought Peter Ferlikis from Mill Creek Renewables, MGM Transformers, Allied Switchgear, RMS Grid Services, Fast Grid, and Joe, anybody I'm forgetting? Those are who we have kind of in our portfolio. And when you need
Did you say the inverter company too? Did you say that one? Did I miss it?
No inverter company yet.
No inverter companies yet? Is that on the plan anytime?
I don't know. You look at ABB and Power One, that didn't go so well.
Oh, that's a good point. Well,
yes.
I'm crossing my fingers that you're able to solve for that one, because that one's tough.
Yeah. So that happened March of 22, right? 22 or 23. I don't know. Dates get old. But in that same March, I started Create Energy. And the goal has been to completely rewrite solar, EV, battery energy storage. Basically give it a clean, fresh slate. And I am not under pressure for payroll. So we thought, you know what, we're just going to hang out. We're going to mess around. We're going to throw concepts out. And in about a year, we did about 20 plus patent pendings for provisional patents in solar, in EV, and battery energy storage, microgrid. We've put a bunch of ideas to paper and pick a topic. What do you want to hit first, solar, EV, or battery energy storage?
Well, that sounds like a big pile of stuff, but it also sounds in many ways like it's like from the outside, it seems a little disconnected. So connect it up for us. What's the picture here? What are you trying to accomplish?
All right. So at Create Energy, what's cooking around this old coconut is I am solving, multivariate calculus problem, or whatever the mathematicians are going to yell at me because I'm going to say it wrong, but multiple equations with multiple unknowns. And the biggest unknown I'm solving for, my biggest X, is there's not a well enough trained labor force to go install solar and to maintain solar, or even just to cut the grass, right?
Preaching to the choir there, yeah.
I'm going to jokingly say you got the little kid in his mommy's basement eating Hot Pockets all day long, watching a little bit of porn and playing a lot of Xbox. He or she does not want to go on a solar field in the middle of some desert for 6 days a week and do this kind of stuff. So you gotta understand that that class of worker has been told it doesn't need to work hard. And unfortunately, as we've all learned, including Origis and other players, is it's hard to find people who are willing to work hard. And at the moment, I think the only requirement is there a heartbeat popping in your chest? That's what you have to hire. So knowing that that is probably a generational change that's going to need to happen, we have a lot of things that need to be installed and maintained and grass to be cut. So how do we do that? We solve from how a project is developed to how it's CAD designed to how all that data talks to the site, where the boundaries of the site are, where the trackers should go, where the modules should, how the modules should install robotically, how the layout of the inverter pads and the roads, everything needs to be done in one database. So when you start construction, first it'll be easier to permit, which is a pain because some people are doing it in SolidWorks, some are doing it in AutoCAD, some are doing it on 8.5 by 11 notepad. So the same database that has been used to lay that field out and send those documents to the engineer of records will then write the program. I need post-pounded in here to an automated post-pounder. So then I want to hang the modules, an automated robot, locking modules onto newly developed tracker systems, right? Into the EBOS that's already included in all that. And then even where how the inverter is going to talk to the Skynet, talking to the trackers, talking nearly to the modules, talking to the data collection systems, talking to the IV curve tracers, talking to the robots that are cutting the grass, right? But anyways, we want to, if we can eliminate all those failure points and all the design cycle that doesn't make sense, we're basically just going to redesign how solar is from beginning to end, from how that field is developed to how the mowers are just running it, everything in between that life cycle. We're looking at, let's just gut it, how it's done and start fresh. And I'm even talking from a module perspective. Every module person designs the module how they think it should be done. Every tracker person's designing their tracker the way they think it should be. So in this design cycle, the modules are designed for the optimization of the module maker. The trackers are designed for the optimization of the tracker profits and all the other systems in between, including EBOS. It's all designed kind of in these siloed engineering programs for life cycles and people who are, trying to optimize dollar value for each one of those independently tied systems that somehow lump together and become a solar field. I'm looking at it differently. We'll start with the module to the tractor. I want to design a module and possibly build a module that has the mechanical and the electrical connections built into the racking or into the frame of the module somehow that robotically locks into a torque tube. Once you make that connection, you're mechanically and electrically connected. So there's not bring in the tracker crew, bring in the torque tube crew, bring in the module crew, bring in the crew that makes all electrical connections, bring this in, bring that in. All these trade skills, which are very rare because trade skills are, far and few between. Especially
hard to find, yeah.
Hard to find, especially in every city that has a bunch of skyscrapers going in. All the talent is up on them 30th floor, doing the electrical, doing the plumbing, doing the tile work, doing the trade skillsmen are in these towers, right? Because they're getting paid outrageously well. Because a lot of those new buildings are all under liquidated damages. So are solar fields, but if I'm a construction guy, I'm going to go find out where to optimize my pay, and it's going to be in one of those towers going up because it's a 24/7, and that deadline has to hit for that building to go live. But anyways, so the idea is those skills are not readily available. How do we dumb it down, right? Make it easy. So anybody with a few days or a few hours of training could be very productive on a solar field, right?
So,
And put it to the point where you got the kid who's used to the little Xbox or PS5 controller and automating it a bit more, right? Where it's more robotics, it's more, the heavy lift is done by equipment, not done by, people lifting 80-pound modules 12 hours a day, 6 days a week.
yeah. But, you and I both remember First Solar and SunPower and other companies doing like vertical integration where they did the tracker and they bought SunPower even had their own panels. First Solar had their own panels, and it was all built, and that didn't work. Like they had to break that all apart. So
Yeah.
Are you talking about vertical integration again? And if so, why is it different this time around?
I'm just gonna say because I'm involved.
Because you're doing it. That's the answer.
And I don't get involved. And quite honestly, I'm not trying. I don't want to build a system for everybody. I want to build a system for a few select players who have a lot of fields that need to be built, and they want every one of those fields to look identically to the other field. Not each one has its own signature module, its own signature tracker, its own signature EBOS. And why did I do what I did with Nails Partners? Is because even though this throat's gotten a little heavier as I'm aging, I want somebody to come and grab it, right? So we're going to bring all the trades. We're going to, with the different skill sets we now possess, we're going to bring transformers. We're going to bring construction crews. You tell us what you want to bring, and we'll bring as much as possible. And then eventually, if you need to bring, if we do get into module business, we'll bring the modules. If we do get into the tracker business, I don't want to get in the tracker business, to be honest. But I'm going to find somebody who wants to go build this cool idea with me, because I can't get it out of my head. And quite honestly, like I've told everybody, the day I'm out of solar is the day they're digging my ditch to put me 6 feet under. So hopefully I'm not leaving the solar space for a very long time.
Yeah.
And I want to ride it. I want to have a good time kind of reinventing the whole process.
So what I'm hearing is create you're seeing these points of inflection and where you can make a difference in the industry, and you're kind of going after them, and you're going to link them together, if not vertically integrate, but at least have integration strategies which would involve AI and technology, decrease the reliance on labor, and increase, reliability. Is that the good summary?
Yes. A lot of sensors, right? You and I have marched around solar fields all over, and there's puddles here, and swampy areas there, and people go in and get lost and get stuck, and equipment goes in, and how do we solve to take care of some of those stupid times, right?
Yeah.
And even with the trackers communicating with the weather, I know there's systems that have been written, and some work and some don't work, and others make claims. And I'm just going to basically build a system where you could come and kick my butt all day long. And our group of companies, and constantly, when you look at who we purchased and what we're doing, it's not like we're a startup trying to figure. We are a startup, but we're not a startup trying to figure out. We got like 12 payroll cycles before we have to go file Chapter 11.
Right. Yeah.
I'm again. Thank God in the public market, Shoals was at the right place at the right time. Thank God that it hit such a great IPO number. And I don't want to leave my money to my great-great-grandchildren. I don't know who the hell they are. So I'm going to go burn a bunch of it, having a good time. And this up, who cares? I don't know who those kids were.
They're probably going to love Hot Pockets too.
Yeah. I'll let that next 3 generations from now sue, the whoever was in control of the money. But I want to change how it's done. Will I get it done? I have no idea, but I'm going to have a great time doing it, because at Shoals for 30 years, I didn't wake up and go to work to figure out how I was going to earn a living. And here at Create, along with Nails Partners, I can't wait to get to work 7 days a week, except go to church on Sunday, come home, go to work. But it's not work. Go to the hobby, enjoy the hobby 24/7, and keep pumping in new patent ideas. If they pass school, if they don't, who cares? I have enough friends within the global community that know me well enough to know we want to go and build a bunch of these sites, right? Do a little R&D, screw up a few things, get to the next revision and cycle. Who knows? It could be you at Origis, or there's plenty of people who want to kind of change their environment. Will it work? Yeah. Is it in the next 12 months? Hell no. Right?
Don't forget to take a little time off for some vacations at Disney World.
You know, the other thing too, Mike, we didn't point out
what?
was while I was kind of in between leaving Shoals and starting Nailson Create, you know, I bought some laser jets and water jets and some cool sheet metal machines. And see this little rocket? Let me figure out. See this rocket right here?
Yeah.
Desk. We were bored. We wanted to burn some time and learn some new machinery and learn some new techniques. So we bought some sheet metal and bending equipment, and we made the desks, made the rocket. And this round table is where the engineering group's going to sit. And when they want to have a discussion, they'll hit a button. The rocket actually is on an actuator. They'll shoot up 6 feet in the air with a big DMX lighting control rocket show. They'll have their conversation, rocket out back down. Why? Because I think I've kind of digressed from maybe a 16-year-old to about a 13-year-old now. So, okay, we're having a good time. We've tested our skills in manufacturing with new equipment, new processes, new machines we had that were not available during my time at Shoals. And as we build our next generation of products, we're going to prototype them ourselves. We're going to next gen them ourselves. I like to build things vertically integrated. I don't like to purchase anything outside. So I figured we might as well learn some machines as we're trying to figure out what we want to do when we grow up, and hopefully we never grow up.
As they say, crawl, walk, run, right? Like get those skills in place and then ramp them. But so I think we have a better sense of what Create's doing and what you've been up to, but it does leave me with a broader question as to why. Why now? What's happening in the industry right now that that you see this need, that you're leaning into? Let's talk about the industry as a whole. What do you see?
All right. Well, first of all, if you take it from the stock perspective, everybody's kind of pulling their money out of renewable stocks, including Shoals, including everybody across the board, right? A big, massive dollar amount has been pulled out of renewables, and it's moved over and it's plugged into this thing called data centers / IA, right? It's the favorite buzzword of the world, right? So now we're probably going to see, from my perspective, is even that grouping of people who are been great in solar or renewables or wind. Data centers is the biggest exciting time for a lot of people who are bored. So I think we're going to have a labor shift, even from the white collar and the blue collar going into those environments. So we just got to solve for X. And the easiest X to solve for is the unskilled but teachable labor, which again could be the mowing, right? The simple servicing of broken modules on trackers that are not moving, that aren't rotating, right? Ground faults or connectors that have not been properly terminated. Just those are easily taught skills. Still hard to find people that are good at it, because I think you're having the same issues, just finding competency in that realm.
Absolutely.
But I think too that even I'm gonna call it more the white collar side of that, those engineers, the people that are doing, layouts and all that kind of more technical stuff. This carrot of data center AI business is taking a lot of talent out of where we ran for in the last couple of decades, and I think it's just going to get crazier and crazier. So I want to try to solve it to make it easier and easier.
So you're talking about taking that change, that focus, and applying it to solar. So where does that apply exactly? I'm not sure that, like, we talk a lot about AI, we talk at shows, people throw it around. You mentioned it's kind of buzzwordy, and that's true. So
Yeah.
like let's scrape the buzzword out of it and let's make it clear to everybody. Where does it really apply? Where is it going to make a difference in solar?
I think in the O&M and maintenance of that entire solar field.
You mean, but mean it's applied during the life cycle? I mean, like, how is it, like, when does it get contemplated?
AI, well, from my standpoint, I want to start kind of at the bottom and work our way up. So the O&M side, the lawn mowing, the mowers, right? The curve tracers, the string monitors, position sensors, sensors in the ground, measuring moisture content, weather stations, which have been around forever, and kind of figure out how to all that stuff kind of tie together. And then speaking to the inverter, right? And then kind of working our way up that food chain and see if it actually makes sense. To start the buzzword AI from the top down, I think that's a fool's errand. But starting with something easy at the bottom, again, I'm gonna hit mowers, right? And kind of teach lawnmowers, machines how to cut grass is probably a good starting reference point to then get to the tracker, right? To get to the module measuring equipment, right? The curve tracers, whatever it's going to be, and get to the more and more sophisticated data, and actually finding a correlation between what you installed for the price and did it return data that actually makes sense and it's measurable, right?
How do you,
the big
how do you
buzzwords
get
are
them?
going to be AI, but you got to figure out. In my mind at the moment, having these software packages that are doing some of that analysis that those people aren't available at the moment, that's probably not a bad way to go about it, right?
Yeah. Well, for those of us that aren't on the Forbes list, how do you pay for all this stuff? Because as well as I do, like, the budgets for these are tight, right? PPA rates have been competed down. Solar got squeezed for years, for a long time. That was our whole goal, was just to decrease cost.
Yeah.
So how do you afford to make it better? How do you afford to make it better?
Well, I'm going to say from my standpoint, I'm just going to pick the right partners to go launch some of this stuff to bulletproof it, right? And then once we know it's doing extremely well, then kind of open up the funnel a bit to go look for more. We're not like a shotgun blasting out to everybody. I don't want to design some crazy cool system, get it UL listed, buy a spot at the trade shows, and hang my shingle and say, please come buy my. I'm not operating like that. I didn't operate shows like that, right?
Yeah.
Usually what I do is somebody gives me a purchase order, and then I got to get busy and figure all this crap out before the deadline hits me. And honestly, I like to procrastinate. I think better when I'm under pressure to perform. But more importantly, there's a group of buyers out there that have had enough of all the garbage, right? And that's where the bankers, and we allowed, and shame on us, but the bankers have taken control and ownership of the solar fields, right? It used to be you got the customer to approve all the products you wanted to install in that field. Now it's the bankers. The bankers have complete control. The finance package determines what trackers, what modules, what inverters, right? They're trying to minimize their exposure to the risk. And it's because the industry beat the hell out of all of us to cost down systems, right? And in my view, they've been overly beat down, right? Not badly. But the thing is everybody has overly compensated to cost down systems, right?
Yeah.
Modules are part of the structural formula for the tracker a lot of times, right? And now you're just seeing piles have gone way too far out, and you're just looking at Christmas tree lighting of solar panels going down that tube. It used to be that square, flat, beautiful. Now you look at all these pictures on LinkedIn. Every time I see somebody bragging about their latest solar field or latest this and that, I want to comment and go, damn, dude, what'd you put in? Bubblegum freaking torque tubes? that looks like you've
Yeah.
taken them piles so far out, you've thinned the torque tubes down so much that how these systems going to go 25 years. And I get it. Everybody says 25 years because they haven't really been challenged, right? But when a system is kind of year one, it's really going to be year 25 if it even gets there. Yeah.
Well, listen, at the risk of at least partially answering my own question, let me ask another leading question since that's my job. So,
right.
When we talk about needing to pay for quality and make things better, the IRA had a number of parts to it where you could get additional money by putting things into certain communities, or in the one case, using U.S. manufactured goods. And you've been manufacturing in the U.S. all along. That's always been how you've done it. But U.S. manufacturing has been moving overseas for a very long time. Like you and I talked about when we were prepping for this, the book Megatrends that talked about the shift from a manufacturing-based economy to an information-based economy. I read that book in the early 80s. It's been that long that this has been going on. I mean, we're talking about 40, 50 years of momentum. So how now everybody's trying to build manufacturing back, but the labor force has changed, the infrastructure is different. Like even if you want to put in a steel plant, you have to go find coal that's good for steel, which we don't necessarily have anymore. Like there's all these other pieces to it that are difficult. But somehow, in the midst of all that, you've been doing it for a long time. So you figured it out. Tell the rest of us, how do you get to U.S. manufacturing? How do you get that 10%, and how do you fund quality?
Good luck. It's going to be difficult. You pick any small town, USA, and you drive through their industrial parks. They're decimated, right? They're distribution points. They're big, huge Amazon warehouses. They're this import facilities, warehouses. We grew up, every small town had a manufacturing base, right? With white collar jobs, with blue collar jobs, engineers, manufacturing engineers, industrial engineers. And then you got to the blue collar side, electricians that were in these plants, right? Plumbers, tool and die makers, machine maintenance people that grew up, right? From teenage years in the tool shop on a mill. They know how to use a grinder. As soon as in the 70s, we started transferring all of our business over to China, so the executives at the big corporate can, have another great earnings call. Unfortunately, decade by decade, every one of our industrial parks has been completely decimated, right? You can't look up the phone book and say, I need to find me a tool and die maker. They're gone, right? Those jobs have been moved overseas, and it's going to take a generation of people learning how to do tool and die, how to do industrial design, how to lay out manufacturing plants, right? Because even the machinery that builds equipment is now going to have to come from China. You cannot build a solar factory in the United States without Chinese gear. It's impossible to build a factory without some type, or if not the entire factory needs to just come from one Chinese vendor who has it all tied together in an automated package. I think my burger was one of the last.
So if that's the case, what's the answer? How do we get there? That's that huge head of yours building in the US. Like, how do we do it?
For me, I gotta say, thank God, I've been surrounded by a bunch of gearheads my whole life. Everybody who I've known, we have in this facility, when we're tired of building stuff, we actually have an auto shop behind the building, and we go work on cars, right? So while we're taking stress out on turning wrenches in cars and busting knuckles and doing all that cool stuff, personally, I'm retraining an entire population of people that have never manufactured anything in their lives. But they do know how to turn a wrench. They know how to use a screwdriver, right? The critical mental thing I look for is somebody who could problem solve. And most car mechanics or electricians or plumbers, every day they go to work, they're having a problem solve, right? So I find that talent base first, bring them, they hang out. I teach them a little bit of manufacturing time. We're not a corporate. There's no wokeism here to create. We love equal opportunity offenders for everything and everybody. Everything's on the table. But you're going to have to find these people that you can trust and bring them along with you, right? It's going to be an information change from the older generation to the newer generation. You don't go and hire some kid that just went to manufacturing engineering class and he or she's going to build you up an assembly line. Those days, they never really existed to begin with, right?
Well, you've talked about automating and using AI in the field. Are you applying that in the manufacturing context as well?
Yes. So what we do in this factory is the baseline of what we're going to do out in those solar fields. Surprise, you treat people well, they treat you back 3 to 4 times better than you treat them. You treat them like they're going to hit on you 10 times harder.
Yeah.
And how this was done. Was it machine failure all the time? Put in a box incorrectly, right? There's all kinds of ways and subtlety in manufacturing to do some stupid, right? But you got to start at treating people very, very well, right? At the base, and let them know they're a part of the innovation. They're part of the change you want to make, right? And then a lot of times it's not about, did I get paid the absolute best? I'm getting paid pretty well. I'm going to say I create, but we're here to completely rewrite an industry or multiple industries, and I get to be an active participant in the change.
Yeah.
Right? Because everything, even though I come up with a lot of big ideas, I still want everybody contributing, right? Drips and drops and little streams to turn into the mighty Mississippi of ideas.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing, if I may summarize, if I may be so bold, is bring good people in, give them respect, give them things to work on that they can believe in, give them a company that gives them support, remove barriers so that they can come to work and get the job done,
Yes.
And that's how you focusing on those people is how you build manufacturing in the US. Does that sound about right?
Amen. And the other thing I'll say is, when you come to work for me, I expect you're part of the family and you'll be with us for life. And if you
Give
leave,
people careers, not jobs.
Exactly. You want to do this to the day you retire or die. Hopefully you're not dying anytime soon again, like me, right? You want to, even if you're here 30 years, you want to stay to 40 years because you're having such a great time, right? Take off.
Yeah.
The one idea I try to tell everybody is, when there's a corporate gorilla that rests on everybody's shoulder from about 25 years old on, that corporate gorilla sits right there on your shoulder, that invisible gorilla. I want his knocked off. Pretend like you're back 13, 14, 16-year-old, just got your driver's license. You and your buddy got your license. You got a 6-pack or 12-pack of beer. You got mom's car, your dad's car, and you're going out cruising. That mentality, life was nothing but open opportunity. Anything was available to go achieve. That's when you come to work for me. That's where I want. If you're bringing corporateness, wokeism, all the stupid shit I don't want to hear about, keep it. Don't come. We want to create, we want to innovate, and we want to execute with a small group of people or customers that really enjoy what we're doing for them, and they're willing to pay a premium for what we're doing. And if you don't, right? Because we're gonna reinvent the marketplace.
We're out of time, really. We've probably been out of time for a while, but I figured let's keep this going for just a bit. But all of that, I want to take one word that you said a minute ago, and I want to know, how you apply it to the industry as a whole. And that word is opportunity. You used that word multiple times just a minute ago, and it feels like you want opportunities for your employees, you want opportunity for your product lines, but you also see an opportunity in where the industry is today, and you're driving create at that while keeping in mind that you want to create opportunities for everyone else so that they can take part in that. But I think seeing the opportunity in solar or in renewables is sometimes the challenge, right? It's the dream we have to sell. So leave us with a little bit of what is the opportunity and why do you get up every morning? Why do you care so much about this industry still to this day? What drives it?
Innovation changed the opportunity. Innovation in changing how it's all done. Literally, do I wake up and think, I'm going to go and make these incremental changes? I think, who was it, Jack Welch? Small change changes nothing. You're going to have to make large change for change to occur. We want to go to a customer who believes in the vision we're looking at, right? Who wants to do it completely different, that's willing to open up their wallet and play nicely with us. But we're going to drag everybody from he or she who's cleaning the bathrooms all the way up to suite. And we're going to drag everybody along with us to succeed when the company succeeds, right? Your information, your input. I have people in the back that just do nothing but keep the plant organized, and they'll come up with the craziest cool ideas and they think they're worthless, and they're absolutely great ideas, right? So it's treating everybody with an equal voice and how we want to go and change the game. And it's not only in solar, we're doing in the EV space, and we're doing it in battery energy storage. We convinced the very large Japanese top 3 or 4 automotive dealer to let us come up with a microgrid, nanogrid as we call it, and change their whole mindset on how they were charging their EVs. And we've won some nice new business. We have a couple of proof of concepts that we're building for this September, and if things go well, then it looks like it could wrap into a global contract. But it's tying solar to battery energy storage, to level 2, level 3 charging, to V to X, V to grid, so the car battery is moving power back and forth, communicating to the building load, and taking it a step further, removing all the monthly fees and all their crap that goes in a grid structure, and drop hardware that just absolutely works, and you don't have to get subscription to death. I know the term, recurring revenue kicks for a lot of big companies. I'm a hardware guy. I'm gonna put all that into hardware and kind of change that game. So we have our first Create Energy's first customer is a top Japanese car manufacturer.
So announcement coming out soon?
Coming to a car dealership near you.
All right. I look forward to seeing what's going on there. Hey, and I just wanted to say, despite your shtick, listening to everybody and giving them a voice sounds pretty inclusive to me. But maybe I just missed it.
I'm old school, man. I'm a 70s gearhead. We're just gonna say, yourself, Mike.
Good ideas come from everywhere, and you got to listen to them, right? You got to be open to hearing them, regardless of where they come from.
And from all the generations.
All the generations.
Even though I'm old, 70s gearhead, born in the 60s, the young people here that are throwing crazy ideas, they're just as cool. They just do it differently. It's hard for us old schoolers to understand. We're usually sitting behind a desk, and we kind of follow a little bit of procedures, but the only procedure we follow here is, let's go work on a car, turn some wrenches, bust some knuckles, tell me what's on your mind, and let's figure out if we should go adopt the idea you just came up with. And then they have ownership in that, right?
Yeah, it's meaningful. All right. Well, listen, we're definitely out of time. Do you have one last very short thing to leave everybody with, straight out of Dean Solon's mouth? Anything?
We love all things renewable. We're going to game change it with you. We're going to rewrite how the industry happens. We're back. But we're back.
And I can't wait to see what happens along with everybody else. Listen, I hope everybody enjoyed listening to you as much as I enjoy talking to you, my friend, as always. Thank you for being on the show. You are indeed a power player. And I look forward to all the feedback we get on this episode. Hopefully we can do it again soon.
Find more information on this topic and more insights on clean energy at origisenergy.com.